A rumor is starting to emerge that Ukrainian forces have actually begun to drive the Russians back in Vovchansk. But is the real reason the Russians themselves? I'm Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran. Let's talk about it. Okay, so this is actually a really interesting story. That's sort of a rumor. I think the best characterization is a rumor. Now, the rumor is that the Vovchansk aggregate plant, that's this structure of buildings here. We actually, over on Combat Vet News, we took a look at some of the fighting taking place here. I'm going to say maybe 3 or 4 months ago. But it's essentially a huge concrete structure that holds a bunch of, aggregate. But while the rest of Vovchansk has been kind of contested, Russians have been holed up here and basically been resupplied by other Russian forces, sort of making this precarious run through this block of streets. But the rumor is actually that after literally holding out for like 4 or 5 months, that the Russians have finally been driven out, right? When we look over to Deep State map, you can see they've quietly remarked some of the Russian lines here, showing them pushed all the way to the outer edge of Vovchansk. And notably, with the exception of this little report of a Russian airstrikes taking place here, there's not really much else in the line of reported Russian activity. In fact, this again is showing them literally driven to the outskirts of Vovchansk. So something, just a quiet change, but we're going to talk about what they're alleging actually happened here. But first, of course, you guys know that if you feel like you are cut off from your energy, you don't need to hold up in an aggregate plant and get mortared for 5 months. Maybe you just need a little extra caffeine. You should check out Strike Gum. Strike Gum is the zero sugar energy drink alternative. If you're tired of energy drinks loaded with sugar, $5 a pop, plus you get your caffeine, but you got to cart around a whole can every day. I had to deal with it when I was in the military, and it drove me crazy. That's why I created Strike Gum. It's made in the USA, veteran-owned, zero sugar, all the caffeine of an energy drink in each individual piece. So check us out, strikegum.com, right? We've rolled out the subscribe and save. If you know you are an energy drink fiend and you're looking for the most cost-effective option, free shipping on all U.S. orders, over $40 with the subscribe and save. So check it out, strikegum.com. Link is in the description. Okay, so what exactly appears to have happened? Well, what's interesting is the Ukrainians are reporting that Russia conducted a strike near its aggregate plant in Vovchansk, which inflicted losses on its own forces. Russian forces reportedly shelled areas near the aggregate plant, causing losses to their own units, according to Ukrainian Kharkiv Operational Tactical Group. This took place on the evening of the 15th. As they said, Russians in northern Vovchansk attempted to transport personnel using motor vehicles, which were destroyed by strikes. They say, in addition, the occupiers used MLRS systems to hit areas adjacent to the aggregate plant, causing casualties to their own unit. They're also conducting operations to evacuate injured personnel and provide logistics support. Now, here's what I think is interesting. One, they mentioned that the Russians are actually using drones to provide logistics, resupply water, food, and ammunition to those Russians who are trapped in here. But this is really interesting. So what they seem to be describing could actually be a decision to abandon it, right? What would happen then? Well, if the Russians decided, listen, we're tired of having to resupply these guys, it's a lot of work for no meaningful tactical gain, and we're going to withdraw, that's what you would see. You would see a motor transport effort move down these roadways, pick up those troops and get out under fire. And then what you would see is the site and the escape would be covered, so to speak, with Russian MLRS fire. So I think that may be what has happened, that there was a decision by the Russian command to withdraw these forces. They picked them up, again, under fire, and then conducted a major barrage of MLRS and artillery strikes, both to eliminate the ability of the Ukrainians to use these positions, since obviously they're very fortified, and more importantly, to cover the withdrawal of these troops as they return to Russian lines. Again, that would explain why Ukrainian forces have allegedly regained positions near the aggregate plant in Vovchansk. And again, they show the following day, September 16th, Russian troops were attacking Ukrainian positions at the aggregate plant. This means the defense forces may have regained positions near the plant. So this I think is my first guess, so to speak, at the narrative that took place here. Again, as we've seen, right, in this conflict, sometimes these forces will sort of get like myopic. Commanders will become fixated on things, and they will just absolutely do everything in their power to not have to accept that holding some positions is pointless, is more work than it's worth. Anyway, guys, that's all I had. Huge thank you to the Colonel tier members at CombatVetNews.com, like Bill Collier, Robin Colburn, Gaius Marning, Eugenia Cuesta, Chris Gorsuch, Francis Sale 90, and Petya Tororu, as well as all of our Lieutenant tier members. I could not do this without you guys. I appreciate you so much. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.